Hi, we're here at Hadassah Hospital, but don't worry, I'm feeling good. I want to show you something inspiring and significant to your faith that's behind this door. Let's go! Shalom and welcome to All Israel Gems, where we explore some of Israel's most remarkable treasures. I'm Kayla Sprague, and today we're here in Jerusalem at one of the most extraordinary artistic and spiritual destinations, the Chagall Windows here in Hadassah University Medical Center in En Kerem. These breathtaking stained glass masterpieces aren't just remarkable for their beauty and biblical symbolism, they've also endured through times of great turbulence. From international acclaim to moments of wartime vulnerability, these windows behind me carry a legacy that's both deeply spiritual and historically resilient. And recent events have shown they still need protection today. Nestled here in the synagogue, we find 12 magnificent stained glass windows, Marc Chagall's modest gift to the Jewish people, inspired directly from the blessings of Jacob and Moses on the 12 tribes of Israel. We are so grateful to be here with Shira Esther, who's going to show us something really significant both to our faith and the Jewish culture and biblical roots. She actually brings people here on tours all the time and shares these beautiful windows, this art, with people from all over the world. And so it's really a privilege to be here with you, Shira. Thank you so much for having us. But can you tell me a little bit about the backstory of Marc Chagall, the artist of these windows? It brings me to tears just thinking about the story of how they ended up here, but you tell it so well.
Well, thank you. Marc Chagall is an artist. He comes from Belarus, Vitebsk, and he was a Jewish artist. He basically grew up and ended up being very, very famous in Europe. And the connection to a hospital, which you would think it's rare, is because when they built this hospital, the president of Hadassah, her name was Miriam Freud, and she knew that if there would be an art piece in a hospital over here, it would just basically bring such an asset. And they had a whole plan to go to France to bring a gift, and they came with a budget. They came also with
which is good. Not every artist has to starve.
Exactly, unlike some of them. But they basically came with a budget. They came with a whole speech that they're going to show with Marc Chagall. And when they started their speech, in the middle of their speech, Marc Chagall looks at them and just stops them. And they think to themselves, okay, he's not interested. Wow. And then he looks at them and he says, I waited my entire life to give to the Jewish people. So they were shocked. Not only he agreed to do such a thing, he did it as a gift, as a donation. And he gave 12 windows for the 12 tribes, for the 12 sons of Jacob that are in a synagogue. And it also meant so much to him, to Marc Chagall, for such a thing to happen, because most of his art is not so much connected to a synagogue, to something that's connected to really to his culture. So he said himself that when he did those windows, he felt his forefathers with him. Wow. And that gave him power to create that art.
Standing before these luminous masterpieces, each measuring approximately 11 by 8 feet, you're witnessing something truly unique. Chagall, along with assistant Charles Marq, developed a special technique of applying multiple colors on single panes of glass, creating these vibrant, almost ethereal effects. Each window represents one of the 12 tribes, with dominant colors, deep blues, brilliant yellows, rich reds, and emerald greens. They seem to dance in Jerusalem's golden light. As we're looking at these beautiful windows, there are symbols that are so recognizable both in Jewish and Christian culture. So could you point out a few that you see?
Of course. So as you can see over here in the window of Levi, you have the candles, you have the 10 Commandments. Wow. On the top, you have the Star of David, right under where it says Levi. And the whole color of the window is a yellow color, which is it's a color that represents purity. Now, the entire window, why such a beautiful positive color, is because they were the holiest tribe, and Marc Chagall really wanted to bring in that emotion.
The tribe of Levi.
Of Levi.
Yeah.
So
Levi, yeah.
Levi, okay.
But
so,
no, they'll be able to connect. I mean, it's beautiful to see.
Yes, and the tribe of Levi is really, this is what they want to do, and that's why Marc Chagall decided to have all of the Jewish symbols in this window.
Okay. Wow, it's so beautiful. And we also see other things like thematic things. I see sheep, I see birds, I see fish, I see light, different uses of light and darkness all around. We see blood, we see hands, we see the shofar.
Yes.
I mean, literally you look around and you're being able to see the scriptures come to life.
That's exactly how I would phrase it. That's amazing.
Chagall immersed himself in Genesis 49 and Deuteronomy 33. This is where Jacob and Moses offered their final blessings to each of the 12 tribes of Israel. Each window captures each tribe's identity through symbols, fish, flowers, animals that tell their story in poetic and colorful language. The windows were created in the late 1950s and dedicated on February 6, 1962, during Hadassah's golden anniversary, before finding their permanent home right here in Jerusalem. They traveled the world, exhibited first in the Louvre in Paris and then at the Museum of Modern Art in New York, drawing over 175,000 visitors. Even President JFK praised them as extraordinary. Okay, so we're connecting to biblical history, but there's also modern history also being told here. Can you tell me what happened during the Six-Day War, specifically to these windows?
Of course. So as you can see over here, you have the window of Issachar, right across the green window. This window is very interesting because Marc Chagall, when he created the windows, they were brought here in 1962. So in 1967, the hospital was attacked, unfortunately, and there were many wounded people, and it was just a few years after the windows were brought here. Now, they went and sent a telegram at that time to Marc Chagall, and they asked him, what do we do? And he said, don't worry about it, I'll redo the windows. Again, as a gift.
Wow.
As a donation. And he redid it. Now, you can see it over here. If you see the blue piece and the purple piece over there, there are shattered pieces. If you recognize it, you can see that Marc Chagall, he took those broken pieces
and used them
to show really the hope that it's never too late to rebuild yourself and have a better future and to remember what happened.
During the recent 12-day war with Iran, the windows were covered for protection on the outside, reminding us that sacred beauty still requires safeguards in times of war.
We were scared that, again, this thing might happen. So the first thing they did, just a few days later, was to cover the windows with a thick layer. They're already covered with a bulletproof layer, but they recovered them. We closed the whole place. People couldn't come visit for a few good weeks because they didn't even know if it's gonna
we
get
were
worse.
supposed to do the interview before the war. We were supposed to do the interview. We had everything scheduled and we had to postpone because the windows were covered. But not just the windows were covered, they were being preserved, protected in the midst of another attack.
Yes.
The synagogue itself is built from Jerusalem stone, and it reflects the colored light of the windows, creating a space where scripture feels alive. I hope you come visit. I recommend making a reservation, especially on Sundays. Standing here, you realize Chagall achieved something extraordinary. He turned the ancient blessings of the 12 tribes into living light. These windows remind us that God's covenant with Israel continues. It still speaks today, even and especially in conflict. Marc Chagall said, "The windows are a message of biblical love, friendship, and peace among all peoples." This message may be more relevant now than ever. I wish you could be in this room and see these windows up close and that everyone could hear the stories about each one. But specifically, when you were sharing with me earlier, these two and the connection to what we're facing right now in Israel and how that connects to Jewish people around the world and Christians that love Israel. So could you tell us about these two?
Of course. So in here you have two beautiful windows. Actually, you can see the light coming through and it brings life to it. But you see the window of God right over here. It's the green window, and you have the red colors that Marc Chagall chose. He chose a very specific type of red that resembles blood, because God was the first one. They were, when they left Egypt to go to Canaan, they were the first ones. They were the ones fighting if anyone attacked, or they went and attacked, and they received blessing on that to do that. But it's interesting.
It was part of their role.
It was part of their role. But right next to it is the window of Asher. And Asher, you even have the dove right on top of, with an olive branch.
Oh yeah, the dove right there.
Which represents peace. And you have, the entire color is green. And you, because the green is to remember olive branches. They, in Hebrew you say, in the Bible it's Eretz Shmena Lachmo. Shmena, shemen. Shemen is oil. And the idea, you have the menorah on the bottom.
Yeah.
And there's some explanations. Again, it's
interpretations.
It's art, but even about the explanation that, first of all, you couldn't use iron in the temple of God because the temple is a place of unity of God, and it's a place of everyone. Everyone is supposed to be unified, and you weren't allowed to use iron that represents war. And another thing, the oil that they used in the menorah in the temple was from that area.
Wow.
Because from that land of Asher, it was told that not one drop of blood was dropped from war. Wow. So again, this is explanations.
The contrast.
But it's to show the contrast of peace versus war. And they're both right near each other.
Yeah, and we're feeling that now. We're feeling the contrast of peace and war in our everyday lives, of continuing to live while also grieving what has been lost. And I think as we stand in this room, we can feel the significance of the fact that it's not just right now. Just like you said, history does repeat itself, but we have things to look back on and remember the faithfulness of God to his people again and again. So thank you so much for taking the time with us.
Thank you.
You are a wealth of information and you communicate with such grace. And so we're just really grateful to have heard from you today.
Thank you for coming.
Of course. Thank you for joining us on this journey. I'm so glad you got to see the Chagall Windows here at Hadassah. If you would like to visit, they host tours and love for people to come and enjoy the history and the beauty. All are welcome, and more details can be found in the description below. Please subscribe to this channel and visit allisraelnews.com for continual coverage here in Israel. Until our next gem, shalom from Jerusalem.